Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. Welcome back to my playthrough of Apollo Justice, the Ace Attorney Trilogy. Let's continue from where we left off here. So we are going to be continuing the Cosmic Turnabout, and you guys have told me that something really shocking is going to happen. Now, I thought the really shocking thing that happened on the other part was that, that Cosmos was involved in the crime, which he somehow is. He's somehow involved. He could be the killer. But you guys told me it's actually not the crazy thing, so we're actually going to see what the crazy thing is on this part. But I'm just really curious what this really crazy thing that you guys told me about that's going to happen at trial is. So let's play off right here. If you guys are enjoying this, do drop a like.
Director Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were this third person.
Ah, forgive me. I'm so sorry.
So the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulous cur. I have only one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly?
Ah.
The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to talk your way out of this.
Fine, I'll tell the truth. It's all just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's true that I was there in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arm, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped to the control room. I then went past the elevators and all the way around to boarding lounge 1 again. I came up behind Detective Arm and pretended to be his second on the scene.
What a troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts.
I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim?
Of course I am. When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer.
Oh, the true killer. Okay, so let's see, who is the true killer? Who is this?
The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness. Okay, who is the true killer?
Now hold on just one moment. We just proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Mr. Starbuck and Miss Ara Blackwell saw was you.
No, it wasn't me. I saw the person as well. If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover for Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall.
That is an excellent point.
All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person.
Well, it makes some sense if he holds those, if he told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still, a lie's a lie, Athena. So Director Cosmos claims he's not the culprit, but where's the proof?
Ah, I just remembered. I have an alibi.
Oh, this should be good.
Miss Blackwell said that she saw the killer at 10 AM, correct?
Yes, and?
Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of the staff you'd like. They'll corroborate me.
The director is not fibbing to the court for once. I confirm that he has an alibi for the time specified. So, you're claiming that Miss Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 AM. And that you arrived at the lounge after that.
Yes, and I believe the person I saw is the same person that Miss Blackwell saw.
Okay, who is this killer?
Although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. And I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an Earthling.
As long as he has an alibi, I'm really curious whether the killer could actually be one of the robots. As ridiculous as that sounds, that's actually possible too. We can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw.
Very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please.
Okay, this will be good. Let's see here. So he could still be the killer. What I really witnessed. Let's see what he's got to say for himself.
As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side, and well, the Launchpad 1 door. And then the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer.
So you were shot at by the killer as well, and then they disappeared.
Yes, though luckily no harm came to my glorious body. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Tehran's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a pang. That must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured.
Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal. That was Detective Arm's bullet, remember? Right, what a mess this is turning into. So let's see. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Tehran and his killer, the culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him. Right, but it actually hit Mr. Tehran's oxygen tank and ruptured it. And then the killer disappeared and the director went to the boarding lounge. When Detective Arm caught up and fired those warning shots at him, judging by his metal, it looks like one of them almost took him out too. Good summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared.
I'm ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate. But what I found was Tehran with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor.
So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene that had no escape route.
Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos.
Silence!
A riddle of the ages indeed, but I'd rather know how a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as great.
A great man is always misunderstood in his own time. But he must remain true to himself, even if those around him don't understand.
Wow, that might be the first true statement he said all day. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly?
Simple, because it was Spaceboy himself. When he was spotted by the director and Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit.
But, you're actually missing something, Black Quill. Where's the gun? Because remember, he's claiming that that Starbuck, according to him, Starbuck was the one who shot at Cosmos, and he's claiming that Starbuck then fainted, to pretend that he's, that he was out cold. But that argument falls apart when you ask him, where's the gun? If Starbuck was the killer and then fainted, pretended to faint, he would have hid the gun somewhere there, but there was no gun to be found, which means the real killer took the gun with them. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter evidence. Well, just what I said, the gun, is you bring that up. You just basically say, where's the gun? Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor?
No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room.
That wasn't exactly helpful.
I'm prepared to accept your surrender, right, Dono?
I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up. There is a hole, like I said, where's the gun? Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help?
Huh?
While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord, which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great if you know. Let's see what you can do with him. You got it, boss. I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind. Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me. Okay, we're gonna be looking into what Cosmos his emotions right now. Let's see what his emotions are. Okay, so we're gonna be trying to find an emotion that's just out of place, something that doesn't make sense. So we got happy, sad, angry, and surprised. Okay, let me put my face up here just so you guys can see. As I tried to enter the lounge, where am I gonna put this here? Let me put my face right here. This will be better. The true killer inside fired a gun at me. That's the true killer. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door, and well, the Launchpad 1's door. And the control room door should have been shut. tied to the killer. I hid to avoid getting shot at. So he's angry, sad, and surprised. Kind of makes sense. You see some random figure shooting at you. But something that's I don't like, this is off to me here. When I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. Wouldn't you be surprised here? Right? You should be surprised here. If the killer vanished into thin air, you should be shocked, shouldn't you?
Got it!
You must have thought it was very strange the killer vanished into thin air. Yes, I got it. So yeah, so I was right on that, is that he claims the killer vanished into thin air, but wouldn't that just shock anybody? Somebody just shooting at you, and then you peek in and they're gone. They're just out of nowhere. That would shock anybody.
I did. That kind of thing just doesn't happen usually.
And yet at that time, you barely registered any shock at that occurrence.
What? Why are you...
Urgh. I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went. Isn't that right?
What? No, of course not. That's preposterous.
Only I can enter the control room.
And the area beyond the launchpad door is filled with smoke, making it impassable. And as for the southern door... I was standing right there. So there was nowhere for the killer to run to.
Maybe, or maybe not. You went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Turan, yes. What if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip out through the southern door?
I highly doubt it.
As you recall, right after I entered the lounge,
Detective Arm came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway.
anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her. And yet the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use? Ah. It's working, boss. One more punch and it'll be a knockout. There seems to be one more emotion that's at odds with his testimony. Go get him. Okay, back in the Matrix it is. Time to pinpoint our way to victory. So there's one more unexpected emotion. So there's something else that we have to find. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. There's nothing strange here. It's, you know, it's a combination of shock, sadness, and anger. Maybe he's experiencing sadness because he recognizes the person that tried to kill him. And while the launchpad... Hang on a second. I was near the elevator side door, and while the launchpad 1 door. Well, why is he sad in this part? Why?
Got it!
He's sad about the launchpad door? Why? Got it too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launchpad door. Well, wasn't it kind of more sad, not afraid?
The Great Fury Cosmos? Afraid? And what basis do you have for this outlandish accusation?
Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it.
I'm most certainly not.
Director Cosmos, there's something about the launchpad door you're not telling us, isn't there? Ugh. Ugh. Wow, he's speechless. It looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. I'll just input those 2 pieces of data and... Yes! Just what I wanted to see. Okay, noise level is down, but we don't have all the way. Presto changeo. Let's Discord. It looks like we're on the right track. Thanks, Athena. Now to make sense of what we've learned. Director Cosmos wasn't surprised the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge. Which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. That or he was in on it. Furthermore, talking about the door to the launchpad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the Launchpad 1 door. What could he be hiding? When we put these 2 pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through... I gotta save my game. I only have 1 chance for this, because of the save last time, I only have literally 1 chance. Oh, great, this is gonna suck. Okay. Which route did the true culprit use to escape? Okay, Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, talking with the door to the Launchpad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the Launchpad 1 door. When we put these two pieces together, only one solution comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here? The Launchpad 1 corridor? But that place was in flames. Is that why he was shocked? Because the killer ran into the room, the hallway that was full of flames? Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility he knew where the killer escaped to. Furthermore, talk with the door to the Launchpad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the Launchpad 1 door. When we put these two pieces together, only one solution comes to mind. The killer escaped through. I'm gonna try the Launchpad 1 corridor. Let's see. Hopefully I get it right.
Take that!
The culprit went through the Launchpad 1 door to escape, didn't they?
Yes. I mean, no. Disaster to starboard. We're going to crash into an asteroid.
A master technician you are not. But the area beyond that door is filled with smoke, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what's strange.
True. This is still the only logical answer there is, yeah.
I can't think of anything else. If we can just figure out what the director is hiding about the Launchpad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies.
But that door requires fingerprint recognition.
Hang on. Fingerprint recognition system. Only the Prince and Director Cosmos, Starbuck, and Terran are authorized. Equipped with backup power. Print recognition attempts are recorded via security camera. Starbuck's prints were found on the scanner screen after incident. This doesn't make sense. There's something wrong here. It's Director Cosmos, Starbuck, and Terran are the only people allowed in there. Their fingerprints can only unlock the door. Starbuck was knocked out. Terran was dead, and Cosmos was being shot at. So, how is there like a fourth person? Something's not off here. Something's not right here.
Only Starbuck, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened that security lock, do you?
That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way he could have easily gotten past that security lock. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints in the fingerprint recognition device. Wait a second, wait. Wait, did he... I know how the killer got out. I know how they did it. I know how they did it now. After the killer killed Terran, the killer picked up Starbuck when he was unconscious and put his hand on the door and then knocked him to the ground, and that's how they escaped. Because Starbuck doesn't need to be conscious in order to open the door, you just need their fingerprints. That's what he did. That's why Starbuck's prints are the last on the door. The killer took him when he was knocked out and just used his prints, took his hand, put it on the scanner, and used that to get out. That's how the killer got out. But where did the killer go when they went through the corridor? I propose that the killer used this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock. It has to be Starbuck.
Take that!
That's... Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found in the device's screen. Yup, I'm on the right track now. I know, we're getting closer to finding the killer. Ah! It looks like he does have something to hide about the Launchpad 1 door. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet. You know, something has occurred to me. Would you like to hear it? Huh? Oh yes, by all means. There's a security camera in boarding lounge 1. Right, the one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor? If the true culprit escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor,
Yeah, he's gonna say, shouldn't the camera have been on, but it was dark. Then that might be recorded on the security footage as well. Then, the mystery will be solved. What do you think of my logic? The power was out. It was pitch black in there. Ugh. I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your baldness. I beg your pardon? Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point... Oh my, the footage cuts off. The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged. Most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There is no footage after this, be it of criminals or space aliens. And I thought it was such a good idea too. Well, the police would have probably thought of that too. Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery. It doesn't mean you should try to show off too much. Grandpa baldness. Prosecutor Blackwell, how did you know about my grandchild?
So yeah, so here's the thing. In real life court, if you insult the judge, you are done. You're going to be held in contempt of court, and the judge can actually throw you in jail for insulting them in court. So this is really unrealistic. I think his grandchild just learned a little about the harshness of the adult world. Setting aside the issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmo, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge?
Grr. If I must.
Okay. Okay, there's another, something is off here again, another motion. I hid to avoid getting shot. After the killer vanished, I went to the lounge. But that's when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator side door. And then the detective shot at me. So you see, the killer could have only escaped to the launch pad, right? What's the emotion that makes no sense here? I'm gonna try this emotion, the sad one here too.
Got it!
No, it's not this one. No, it's not this one. After the killer vanished, I went into the lounge. Anger?
Got it!
No. It does make sense he would be angry that somebody's shooting at him too.
Got it!
Okay, there's an unexpected emotion here. What?
Got it!
It's this one? Director Cosmos. Why were you so surprised when Detective Arm found you, and again when she fired? Well, I didn't really think that was important because you would be surprised the detective just ran in and started shooting at you. Isn't that a bit unnatural?
Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experiences surprise on occasion.
Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by.
Pardon me?
First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. And just after that, you were of course again surprised when she shot at you. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprise reaction is the fact that you were... not surprised by something else. He's not surprised that they went in through the door. Is that it? That they went in through the door? I think that's probably it. Hold on. Not surprised by something else. Let me see here. Wasn't there something you should have been more surprised by?
A brave man such as myself is not so easily surprised. But being shot at now, that would surprise anybody.
Well, when you put it that way, I guess I'm barking up the wrong tree here. More surprised when Arm came. Sure, you were surprised when Detective Arm shot at you, but the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. Ah! The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than by being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whether it was you were doing there. Suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there.
The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence operation hide under your desk. Ah!
Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. No, the noise level is down all the way. Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that Launchpad door. And whatever he's hiding, most likely has something to do with the killer's escape. I wonder what it could be. He was doing something suspicious around that door. Maybe we can spot some change between before he came to the room and after. Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison. Let's see. This footage of the door before Director Cosmos arrived. And this is how the door looked after the director entered the lounge. Hey, look at that! There is a change. Something's definitely different. Director Cosmos. What is it?
What have you been up to over there?
Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective Arm found you, that's what. And that answer lies clearly in this footage. All I had to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation.
Don't be ridiculous. If you really do have an answer, you'd have pointed it out already.
He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident. What changed after the incident? Oh, I see it. This. Yeah, this is this thing. This thing, look at this thing. Look. See that? It's turned. Here it's vertically, here it's horizontally.
Take that!
The answer is this knob.
That's...
Your Honor, please take a look at this footage. Let's see. Take a look at the knob next to the Launchpad door. As you can see, it's horizontal. Yes, it is, isn't it? However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical. And what does that mean? It means that sometime between before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob.
Ah!
After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos. Let's hear what you have to say. What were you trying to do by turning that knob by the door?
Fine, I admit it. You're right, I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the Launchpad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions. So I wanted to move the Launchpad away.
You wanted to do what? Hey, didn't Ponko tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said that once the Launchpad's fully assembled, it's moved to the Launchpad site. But the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first. I guess that clears up what that knob is for. Oh, so if the killer escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the Launchpad to the launch site. And they could have gotten out through the corridor. They moved the entire corridor. The entire corridor was moved. I don't think so. The Launchpad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. So then, where did the killer escape to? I guess there are still some things we have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about moving the Launchpad in more detail.
Fine. But listen carefully, for I'm about to give history-making testimony. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock.
I already see the unexpected emotion, happiness. Why is he happy?
Got it!
Why is he happy turning that knob? I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. Why are you happy? Make it sound like you were reluctant to do so. And yet, when you did it, you felt some joy, as if you were very pleased with yourself.
Ah! How did you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there?
Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology. So, care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda.
Ah! How do you know about that too?
Because I'm more or less a pro. No, I'm the professional here at guessing.
But you have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. And even if I did, I would never, ever tell you, so there.
I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you, sir, take the cake.
And how could you doubt a man with such great intensity, intelligence, and integrity?
Silence!
You, a man of integrity? Don't make me laugh. Prosecutor Blackwell. What came over him all of a sudden? You've spouted nothing but false cities since you stepped up to the stand. You're not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Not for greatness, anyway. Unless you consider greatest barefaced liar in honor.
Liar!
Gulp, his words bite harder than his blade. You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosions. My, how naive you are. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you.
You know, just a thought, but modern English can be your friend.
And here's a thought for you. Immediately following the bombing, Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on scene.
What? Liar!
So that means
The director didn't move the launch pad. Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge in his lies and war games to his heart's content.
But there still has to be a reason why he turned that knob that's relevant.
Liar!
Objection!
But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned that knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we just might find where the killer escaped to.
You're sure it must have went somewhere? We might just find out? Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Or are you not man enough to, boy?
Haha, talk about hitting below the belt.
Youngins these days.
I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. The knob was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Ugh. Wait a minute. Maybe I have it all backwards. That's what I was thinking. What if instead of the launch pad, what if everything else moved? What if the director turned the knob, not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be? What are you blathering about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident? And then after the incident, Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot. All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back. And it would be right there where the police found it.
Ha! Ha! Oh, Hank!
You made him sigh like Mr. Starbuck. Was what I said really that off base?
It pains me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you. However, our great liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad existed beyond the lounge when our Astro Wonders made their escape. A fact that has been recorded for posterity on filmless film.
Alright.
So to reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is, boy.
Ah! Get a grip, Mr. Wright, and focus. We know the launch pad must have been moved. But our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction to each other. Well, maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. This footage could be fake, taken with body doubles after the incident or something. No. On second thought, that's too far-fetched, even for me. Never actually boarded the rocket. Hey, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe. Huh? Prosecutor Blackwell, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead went into another place? And what if, when the director moved launch pad 1 back, it was not from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then?
Cut the existential bull, or I'll cut you. Mr. Wright, will you explain yourself at once?
Yeah, I'm starting to get confused now, too.
I know I'm right. It was all the other way around from the beginning.
Very well, Your Honor. Let me explain. Director Cosmos' reason for moving Launchpad 1 was... to trap the true killer. It would explain his joy. Because he wanted to trap the true killer. Right, Dono. Need I remind you there was an explosion? And that the corridor between the launchpad and the lounge was thick with smoke? If the killer had been trapped in there, they would have been found as dead as their victim. I guess you're right. Well, I'm glad you both agree. Now here's a penalty for you, Mr. Wright. Ah, crap. Okay. Wasn't to trap the true killer. To switch it with another place. Switch it with another place. It has to be that. Because he wanted to switch it with some other place. I'm sorry, but did you just say switch it? But what could he possibly have switched the launchpad with? Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box, and the answer becomes clear as day. This is what was switched with Launchpad 1. The museum?
Take that!
Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum? In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. That is true. It has all the same features as Launchpad 1 and can even be moved to the launch site. Meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other. You can't mean... The rocket the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum. What? Is this the shocking thing? They boarded a fake rocket? The space... The whole thing was gonna be fake? They were never going into actual space? It was faked? What? This is a parody off of the moon landing conspiracy. That's what this is. This is, this entire... Yuri Cosmos is a parody of Yuri Gagarin, the first astronaut that went to space, the Soviet astronaut. This right here is a parody off of the moon landing conspiracy, where people believe that the moon landing was faked. So they never were going to go into space. It was just they switched it with the museum rocket, and yet it's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident. I see Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum have already switched places. That's right, and with the two switched like this, the astronauts enter the Space Museum from boarding lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter Launchpad 1 from boarding lounge 2. And set the bomb on the rocket. Come to think of it, the door to the Space Museum from boarding lounge 2.
Welcome, welcome. The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Exactly, anyone could pass through the door to the Space Museum. There's no fingerprint recognition system on that door. In other words, with the two launch pads switched like that, someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted that bomb. After setting the bomb on the rocket, the culprit snuck into boarding lounge 1 and waited there concealed, in order to kill Mr. Tehran when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Miss Blackwell, Mr. Starbuck, and the director all saw a suspicious figure, who we can suppose, after killing Mr. Tehran, made their escape into the Space Museum. After that, Director Cosmos switched the two launch pads back, without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. That's how they didn't die from smoke, because there was no smoke there. The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Right, Dono, I see you know how to handle a sword and handle it well. Perhaps I should call you Sword Master Bluff. I'm a seasoned warrior who has cut down many, I'll prosecute.
Silence.
But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword.
That's right. You have no proof I switched to Launchpads.
Somebody needs a better anger management counselor. If the Launchpads really were switched, there might be a record of it somewhere. At this point, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other. So the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Let's see. This is an image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. You see anything different when we compare it to the security footage? Huh. That number on the floor. Number on the floor. 1. Yeah. Well, what do you know? It looks like we have proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell. And if this is just another bluff? Oh, don't worry. It's all right here. Right in this footage. Yeah, we see 2. There's 2 right there. Prove that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum. Very well then. Answer this for me if you would. What in this footage proves that the corridor belongs to the Space Museum? The 2.
Take that!
There's a 1 on the floor of the Launchpad 1 corridor. But take a look at the floor of the corridor in the security footage. Do you see the number on the floor behind the astronauts? It doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because what you see is actually part of 2. What? Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one in the Space Museum. And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke. That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. So then, if the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum, why were they injured? The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1, on the side opposite of the Space Museum. And now that we know that 2 astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery from the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is cleared up. Mr. Tron, carrying Mr. Starbuck, simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle level. Just incredible. The 2 launch pads were actually switched. But you think someone would have noticed an event of this magnitude? Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. But why were they in the museum? Bye-bye. No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time you told us the truth. Tag!
My honor, my glory, everything is slipping away. Time to deploy my ultimate weapon. Galactic engine. Ignition. What? It's gone haywire. It won't stop. My stars, my glory. No, not that way.
Bailiff, on your steed and after the witness. I see we managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm. Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads?
I admit it's true. I switched Launchpad 1 for the Space Museum.
It's good to hear those words I can believe for a change. Before you do, Your Honor, 2 things. First, we don't know if Mr. Tehran had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Tehran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum.
that it had been switched with the Launchpad 1. So my first question is, if the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Tron feel the need to pull such a dramatic display? Exactly, yeah. That's what I was thinking, is why were they injured? It doesn't make sense. As for my second question, I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the 2 launch pads to begin with.
Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say, my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in that blast.
He knew the bomb was gonna go off. The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain why. He's scared of something. Probably not a good time to try to pry it out of him, huh?
Excuse me, but would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing.
I don't see why not, Bailiff. Help the director retrieve his stars. Don't, he could have a weapon or something there. It appears the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say?
I don't get it.
Don't get it. What don't you get? Director, why did you do all that? From the very beginning, you never meant for the launch to go ahead, did you? You tricked us.
Mr. Starbuck. Starbuck, my boy, I'm sorry. I can't tell you the reason why. But I had to do it to protect the Space Center.
Director, will I ever get the chance to go into space again?
Yes, of course. I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy.
The dream is still alive.
Silence.
What's going on here, though? Who is the killer? What? You're not going into space, Starbuck. But prison. I won't have it any other way. Why are you so hung up on him? Yes, I accept that the Launchpad really were switched. And if there was a third person in the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I've yet to see proof of this third person's escape via the Space Museum. Oh, that's a good point.
He's right. I don't have any proof.
Starbuck, you will spill everything you know.
What? Me?
Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood. If I'm going to die, I want to die in space. I have to do something. Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself. Oh, Fulbright is shocking him. Oh, now you know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. That annoying cheerful laugh. It can't be no other than... It's Fulbright, yep. Champion of righteousness, Bobby Fulbright here. In justice we trust. The Detective Fulbright. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late. I don't believe we had an appointment. I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady cross the street. And then I had to break up a cat fight. I tell you, justice is a full-time job. Was it a fight between cats or... Why are you here again? Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I came to make sure that justice is served. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Fulbright. I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. But have you finally succumbed? No, but it looks like you've succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let the evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. What evidence?
Come to think of it, he did say something about finding us some evidence.
Thanks, you two. I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I'm going to work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you.
I didn't think he was serious, though. So what is it, Detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbuck innocent?
It is indeed. Have a look at this. What's this? A lighter.
It's the killer's lighter.
That's right, a lighter thought to have been used by the culprit, no less. The Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. It has the victim Clay Terran's blood, along with his killer's fingerprints on it.
Who's the killer? What? Where the hell did you get that lighter, and whose fingerprints? This better be good. Whose fingerprints are on it? Is it Aura?
Order! Order! Detective Fulbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant? You bet! Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent.
This is it. This is just what I needed. The lighter found on the Space Museum, the true culprit's fingerprints are on it in the victim's blood. Whose fingerprints is it? Your Honor, this is decisive evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall where this lighter was found. Based on we can extrapolate that after the killer murdered Mr. Terran, they escaped lighter in hand into the Space Museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the two launch pads occurred. Then finally, the killer left through the boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in boarding lounge 1 after the murder. A fact that Director Cosmos has testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop the lighter there.
Silence.
But the defendant had free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during that span of time?
Objection.
You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? But Director Cosmos testified that right after he saw the mysterious figure of a lighter, he went to the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackwood, this lighter could only have been dropped by the real killer. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints were nowhere to be found in this lighter. I think you understand what this means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit.
This does indeed appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claims.
As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck.
No, there must be some mistake. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackwell, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand your urgency because tomorrow...
Silence.
Fulbright, you promised never to speak of that.
Huh? Tomorrow? What about tomorrow?
Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent. In light of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed the crime, a few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant Solomon Starbuck.
Whose fingerprints were on the lighter, though? Yes, we did it, Mr. Wright. Is it over? Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh? With some help from Detective Fulbright, but something's not right here. Because every single Ace Attorney case, I've never had an Ace Attorney case end like this. Like, I've played so many Ace Attorney games. I've never played this case, though, because I've never played Dual Destinies. But, like, I've never had it... I've never seen an Ace Attorney case where it ends without finding the real killer. Like, that, it just never happens like that. So, like, whenever you get not guilty, you'd find the real killer at that point, but we still haven't found the real killer. Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you. And please thank Apollo for me, too. You all are the best. Oh, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now. Yeah, me too, but that's going to have to wait. Where is Apollo? Now that a verdict has been reached, I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned.
Objection!
We'll just... It's too late to object, isn't it? It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong. Prosecutor Blackwell, are you dissatisfied with the verdict? Fulbright! What were the results of the fingerprint analysis of the lighter? Huh? The results? Yeah, I want to know whose fingerprints. Ha 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 ha. Well, I was in a hurry, you see. And then there was that cat fight, and well, just get to the point. I kinda got carried away when I heard the prints weren't Mr. Starbucks, so... You have yet to read it? Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read out who the prints belong to? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints, so here we go. Is this a really shocking moment? Let's see. Were found to belong to Athena Sykes. What? What? What the hell? What? Is this the shocking thing you were telling me about? What? What? I thought it was gonna be Aura. I thought it was Aura's fingerprints. Athena's fingerprints? What? I just... So says the report. What? What? Huh? But me? Order, I say, order! Miss Sykes, tell me you have an explanation for this. We just finished proving that this lighter could only belong to the killer. So finding your prints on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion. I don't know how they got on there, but I know I'm not the culprit. This can't be happening. We built up our argument piece by piece, and I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty. So how could it have led to this? It was Athena's prints on it in the victim's blood. Oh, what have I done? Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Order! Order! Detective Fulbright, stop your crying. Did Starbuck really do it then? What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad. Order! Order! I will have order! Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we'd fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of the crimes. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled upon the edge of reason and into the jaws of a twisted darkness. The end. That's the end of that case. So it ends like this? My god, that was just... What the hell, man? That has to be the shocking thing you guys told me about, that it was just... My god, that... So... This is gonna be episode 5, is going to be proving Athena's innocent, because Athena didn't do it. I can't imagine Athena would do something like that. There has to be an explanation. Did Starbuck really do it? I mean, it's just... Now I'm starting to wonder whether Starbuck is the killer. I'm starting to wonder that. Or if Aura is the killer. But... What the hell? My god, out of this Apollo Justice collection that I played, that has to be the most shocking scene in the game. that I've seen so far. My god, that was just something else. But I will have the next case for you guys as soon as I can, so thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, drop a like. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.